we discussed process selection decision to some extent. Did we complete it? As I can remember, no. Right? We were talking about in operations management, depending on the demand for your products, and then of course what type of product you offer, and then other technology decisions and all, and capacity requirements. Managers, operations managers should involve in this process selection decision. So there we identified there are different types of processes, and managers time to time should select the right process types, how manufacturing activities are organized. Don't know whether you remember. You should remember this because we have to continue from there. And then of course the next topic also related to the same. To understand the next topic, you should understand the previous one better. So we identified manufacturing process types, as I can remember. Manufacturing process type. And had an in-class activity to understand different manufacturing process types. Did we? We identified 5 different process types. Just check the handout and whether you remember those 5. Right. We talked about something called fixed position. Project processes, and another one called jobbing processes, a variety of items in small volume that we produce through jobbing processes or job shops. In the same manner, batch processing, right? Limited variety of items, but as batches, right? Again, but batch size is relatively high, right? Compared to jobbing processes, we understood. And the fourth one was named as mass processes, right? Especially to produce standardized products in high volume, highly efficient process type, we call it mass processes. And finally, we identified 5th one, we call it continuous process, that operate for 24/7 to produce a highly standardized product, very high volume, cater well-established high demand in the market for their products, right? Like electricity generation, maybe steel manufacturing, glass manufacturing, or various other products. Right? And for such, we need continuous processes. Those are the 5 manufacturing process types we identified and discussed. Right? And at the same time, we identified service process types also, but we didn't discuss them in the classroom, didn't we? We didn't, right? So let's quickly cover that part, maybe within 10 to 15 minutes, and move to the new topic. So that is where we were. Right. So quickly draw your attention to that part. Without taking much time, let's quickly move to those service process types. Right. And we identified where to place them according to these 2 process related criteria, volume and variety. So let's discuss their characteristics with some examples and quickly finish this. Because in operations management, we need to understand both manufacturing operations as well as service operations. Especially for participants like you, you're like involving service processes. Whether you know it or not, well, like involving service operations. Now, for manufacturing processes, what are being processed? Don't know whether you remember. Now, last time when we talk about them, now in the sub processing, right? So there are three main, we call them transformed resources. There are three main transformed resources that are being processed in processes. Three, we identified from the first topic, right? Transformed resources, which are being converted into outputs. There are three types, namely, one is called materials being processed, and there is another one we call it customers, and the third one is called information. So these are the three main things, right, in different processes, in different operational activities being processed. Right? Out of these three, in manufacturing process types, what are being processed? Hello? That's very simple. I think we quickly identified that one also the other day. I mean, already we discussed. So anyway, if you are not, if you couldn't understand it, so out of these three, in manufacturing processes like factories or the cement factory or cement mixing and all, what are being processed here? Do they process materials, customers, or information? Hello? Well, you should have an answer, very clear, direct answer. What is the answer? Well, yes. In manufacturing processes, it is materials being processed. Like in a garment factory, materials. Fabric to various other materials processed into garment items. At a tea factory, tea leaves and basically tea leaves and other whatever the items, I don't think there are many such items. No, being processed into bulk tea. Ice cream manufacturing or dairy products manufacturing, fresh milk and various other materials into ice cream or the final dairy product. Automobile manufacturing, vehicle components, chassis and various other parts, that is materials, into finished vehicle. Clear? So materials being processed in manufacturing. When it comes to services, in service operations, what are being processed? We have already identified, you should remember, well, in service process types, service operations, we either process customers, right, or information, or a combination of these, plus sometimes, because for certain service operations we need material processing also, right? So that is fine. Mainly customers and or information, and then some amount of materials which are needed for the service. So in service process type, that is, these are the things being processed. Clear? You should be able to understand. Right. Now, accordingly, in any of these three, what are being processed mostly? Either customers or information. Name me few examples where customers being processed without thinking about the type. Hello? In which type of operations customers being processed? You should be able to answer these questions. Because operations management, these are very basic. Yeah. Hospitals, in the hospital operations, healthcare treatments, right? So basically patients being processed, customers. What else? Hello? There are many other Vidya. In education, what happens? That is individuals to and the learning part of the students. Right. So customers being processed in education institute operations. What else? Hotels and restaurants. That is guests or the customers. Guests and customers. That is customers. Great. One more. Hello. In many other operations, let's say airports, what happens? Passengers, customers. Let's say immigration office issue passports and all. In a way, both customers and employees, but customers. Understanding? So name me few services that you think mainly the information needs. Information process. Hello? Financial services like a bank, like in addition to retail banking customers, they process information also like customer applications, loan applications, vouchers, invoices, right? And then of course various other information and requests, information being processed in financial services, online queries, manual, so all this information in financial services. Write them down somewhere. You know, I mean, if you feel like you forget, so this is important for your final paper also, because you need to write information. I mean, answers. Right. Customer processing examples like hospitals, education institutes, restaurants and hotels, airports. And then of course information processing operations like financial services. And then some other services. One or two. At audit firms, what do you process? Hello? Customers? No. What do you process? It's information. Financial transactions, evidences, documents, financial statements, so. So find information. Research agencies, they process the information. Media institutes, news agencies, what they process? Information. And some of their operations. Web services, right? Web apps and all, what they process? Then of course, telecommunication services, like dialogue, mobile and all, different way of processing information. So whatever it is, now depending on the demand for the service and various other factors, operations managers time to time should select the appropriate process type out of these three and thereby manage the market demand, market supply and demand. Right. So now there are three. Let's discuss them quickly and then identify a few examples and finish it off. The first one, what we call professional service processes. What is the name given? Now, when you write exams, answers in the exam, you'll have to use these terms. So, what we mean by professional service processes? Well, such processes can produce low volume, most probably one or few outputs, and low volume. How about the variety? Hello? Variety high, that means each output what they create, customized. Hello, I hope you can now understand it. We discuss it. So, customized services in low volume can be provided through professional service. So now, out of those examples, maybe for customer processing or information processing, uh, shall we select few examples? Highly customized, one or few outputs. So some examples, organizations or industries at least, using this type of approach. You will be correct. Yeah. Legal firms. Legal firms or law firms. Why? The cases they get from each client, right, it's unique. They have to study the case, what are the low points and what are the relevant laws and all, and the experts they have to study the case and process the case. So each case is unique, so that it requires a professional service process in a way. Yes, what they process? That's information. So that is given to one senior lawyer and a team. They handle it. Understand it? From operations management point of view, there is a professional service. Like what? Very good. Write it down. And what else? What are the other examples? Architectural kind of solutions given, right? Very good. Each client's requirement is unique. So from the beginning to the end, maybe one person or a team will have to handle that client's requirement and provide the architectural solution. Well, yes, this is the first time that I heard this example, but that's good. Customized, highly customized solution. What they process? Customers or information. Architectural solutions. Customers or information they process. Simply information, right? Customer requests, their suggestions, their demand, and then of course other design concepts, and they process information and finally provide architectural solutions. One more example. I did software development, software solutions and all, new software solutions and all. Again, information processing, each client different solutions. We are not going to discuss much about it because information processing, how it happens and all, that is totally different. Right? It is a little bit difficult for us to understand how it happens, unlike manufacturing or customer service processing. Customer service we can see and understand, but information processing too technical. Like if you go to telecommunication services like Dialog and Mobitel, right, and see how they process information in their operation, it is difficult and technical part that we don't understand as management practices. But customer service we can understand a bit. Just a good example. Can you give me one or two examples for customer processing under professional practice, professional service? Yeah, you see individuals or customers being processed. For example, hospitals hears most of the case. At hospitals, because each patient requirements are different. They need to pay attention to requirements of individual patients. Which are unique diseases, special cases and all, right? Surgeries and consultations, right? Should be arranged one to one patient at a time. If that is the case, they require professional service processors and whatever the arrangements needed for that, like the facility, building, rooms, equipment, service provider, and the support staff, everything should be arranged to provide professional service process. That is different from the other two. You will understand. Thank you for that example. At hospitals, especially different healthcare treatments, surgeries, doctor consultations require professionals. Now assume you are a manager or admin manager or operations manager of a hospital, right? So you should clearly understand what do you do in our operations. What type of operations? We process patients, right? And then the type of operations needed. For instance, more private places, space for doctor consultations, separate cubicles, because one patient at a time will be examined and their health requirements will be identified, diagnosed, and treatments will be given accordingly. Designated doctors, assistants, that's likewise. One more customer service, professional service processes. How about beautification services like salons? How many customers can be processed at a time? Only one. Do you agree? The professional service process for beautification services. Only one customer. If you need to process few customers, what we need to arrange? Different places and different resources to each customer. That is what we see in salons. We might process 5 customers together, 5 customers parallelly, but to each customer we have separate beautician and chair and arrangement. Can you understand it? Because professional service, customized service, output is one at a time. I hope that is clear. These are connected to other operations decisions as well. You need to understand. Law firms, yes, and accounting firms, audit firms, professional services. But they process information. Right. Coming to the second one, service shop processes, what we call it. Service shop processes. This is particularly used to produce a limited variety of services. That means not highly customized, but limited variety of services in moderate volume. Not only one output, but we cannot produce many outputs as well, but moderate volume, moderate variety. Do you have any examples for that? In which industry you think sometimes they depend on service shops, maybe to process information or customers. Transportation, especially customized transportation to some extent, like office transportation, right? Or buses, right? Passenger transportation. Right? How many customers? How many passengers? Relatively small, but at least some amount, maybe 5 to 10 to 25 to 30 to maximum 50. Moderate volume, depending on the passengers' requirements, right? It's office transport, school services and all, right? Or office transportation. All 20 together will be taken. They can change the routes depending on the requirements. Tourist transportation, exactly like this. Okay, transportation, passenger transportation. Where else you may see? Consulting. What type of consulting? Repeating? I mean counseling kind of services. More than counseling, I understand what you mean to say. The motivation kind of sessions also that is given to a small team. Because if you are thinking of counseling sessions, one-to-one counseling, we need a professional service process. But if we talk to a small crowd like this, 5 to 20, maximum 30 or 40, it can be considered as service shop process, where the same instruction is given to everyone. Can you understand it? So let's say it's a 1 hour motivational session conducted for 20 individuals. So that is the service. So within the hour, all 20 will be processed together. Kind of service shop planning. Rather than giving individual attention to all. Do you agree? So the volume would be a little higher, variety is limited, but let's say now 1 hour for a school children category, and another 1 hour for university category, and another 1 hour for profession. So each session would be customized to the requirements of category. Variety of items can be provided, but processed together. I hope you can understand. These are good decisions to make. Otherwise, we might spend unnecessarily more time. We might waste operations resources like resource persons. In addition to passenger transportation, can we consider courier services, parcel services, postal services under the service shop category? To a great extent, yes. They sort the parcels, postal items, and carry them, distribute them in a region, in an area, like small collection. Service shops. Service shops. One more information example. They process as small batches. At a bank, how about the loan application processing? Do they process one by one, or the loans officer would they process all the applications received within a week together, or within 2 weeks? I think to save time, to make their processes more efficient, they may wait till they get a few applications if they are not urgent, and then process 2, 3, 5 all loan applications together, like whether the applications are complete, whether they have submitted all the necessary documents and all. That is what we call processing, right? They will do it as a small batch to save time. So then you may have seen maybe second officers or assistant managers, they go through originals of the payment slips, right, and verify them whether the date is correct, signature, or the information is correct or not. Have you seen it? At banks, that's also a processing. So they process vouchers they get. Original slips per day, right? So that they take the entire lot, right? Check it and finish it. And small batches. Service shop under information. Clear? So likewise, you may also in auditing, you may select some samples and finishing them as small sets. You need service shops. The third category, we call it mass service processes. For what type of industries, organizations that is used? What are the characteristics? Volume. Such processes are capable of producing. Hello? High volume, right? Either more customers or more information. And more volume. How about the variety? produce different services, variety of services, or what we call customized services? No. Instead, they are capable of producing standardized services. Same service to everyone. High volume. So give me one or two examples, or few examples. Customer processing mass services. Passengers, customers, or individuals. In which type of industries you may see? Garment factories. Garment factories. Well, because they under manufacturing processes, because they produce products. Were you there last week? Probably no.
Not
Garments. Yeah, that is what. Clothing or apparel manufacturing, right? So it's a manufacturing process, the material being processed. We are talking about service, right? That is why the demarcation. Yeah. Telecasting, yes. Especially mass media, right? So we have to create content that is to telecast to a large crowd, large audience, right? So it's a kind of standardized service, let's say news items or other media programs to the entire audience. Yes, that's part of information processing, by the way, right? Very good example. Musical concerts, especially medium large scale concerts. Yes, do you agree? Same performance to the big audience out there, right? Including events as well, right? So let's say musical shows or concerts, right? So the same performance to the entire audience. So standardized solution to a big crowd. Understanding? Those are two good examples. Concerts, musical shows, and all. Do you have one more example? Seminars for a big crowd, large audiences. Yeah, seminars. But for workshops, we need service shop category, a small crowd. But seminars can be conducted for 500 or even 1,000 plus audience. Same content delivered to the big crowd. Mass services, religious activities are there to a very big crowd, right? Together they take part. Even now, when it comes to transportation and all, the railway transportation is considered as a mass service process because relative to a big crowd, more number of passengers together, one. Do they provide customized service or a standardized service? Very much standardized because railway transportation services cover certain areas only according to a timetable. Highly standardized. Railway transportation and metro services. Metro, we don't have here in Sri Lanka, but covering certain cities, same timetable is maintained. Even long distance air traveling is also considered as mass service, right? Although the customized service can be provided, long distances, not within the countries or within the regions, but because they sometimes carry more than 300 passengers, 400 plus, the same aircraft, but they provide customized services within the entire crowd, customized services. Transportation done together. Hope you can understand. What did we discuss? Different process types. For manufacturing, we identify the 5. We discuss their characteristics and where to use which one and all. For services, we identify 3. This is for customer processing and information processing. Right? Now the point is this. Now, since there are different process types, managers, especially operation managers in this regard, now they should be able to recommend appropriate process time for different periods. And for that, this what we call product life cycle concept will be highly useful. You know, I hope you are familiar with this PLC idea. Product life cycle. That says for any new product, any new concepts when introduced first, the demand for that would be relatively low and then slowly growing. And customers would expect variety of items at the beginning. And the demand is low. In such a case, what we call the start period or introductory period, a business will try out what we call job shop processes, so that they can produce a variety of customized items in small volume and supply to the market, because demand is such. What you see here is the cost curve, production cost. When a factory using job shop processing, operation cost is relatively high, as we discussed. Why? Because of inefficiencies, low productivity. Hello? Hope you can understand? Right. And then as they move forward, especially there are some learning effects. Learning curve, they learn better approaches to produce, better techniques, and then gradually the production cost will be reduced. But in job shops, your production cost is relatively high. Now, operations managers, they should closely study the market demand for their products. Sometimes after a few months' time, few years' time, there's a period what we call rapid growth phase, where the demand for some selected varieties is growing faster. Right? So the demand for few items is growing faster. So during such phase, what business should do successfully manage the demand and then supply products. Not required to continue with the variety of items during such phase. Well, they can reduce the variety into few high demanded items and produce in relatively big batches. So that is why for the rapid growth phase, what is recommended process time? For the rapid growth phase, what is the recommended process time? Batch kind. That few items, few selected variety that has high demand and produce in large batches. Say now, let's say Damro furniture items. When they initially introduced various different plastic designs or synthetic designs or other furniture designs, they had a variety of items. So they produce according to the orders they get. According to the orders, they customize orders. But slowly, they recognize that there's a growing demand for selected few furniture types, furniture designs. So, rather than continuing customized orders, they start producing them as batches. Selected number of furniture designs in batches so that they could produce relatively high volume at low cost to make the growth phase. Isn't that a good idea? So that is one. Factory managers should change it time to time. It's not a simple decision to make, by the way. When you change from job shop to batch, you'll have to make certain changes in the production process. Machinery. The next one, that is layout. How we allocate workers. Right? So a complete change in the production process. Can you understand it? Right? So that is how it happens. From job shop to batch. During the growth phase of a product life cycle. In the same manner, for certain products, for certain industries, now there can be, out of those few variety, one or two items that has a huge demand now after a few years' time. We call it the maturity period. The demand is at peak. One or two items are highly demanded in the market. For that, even the batch production may not be adequate because the volume would be relatively low in batch production. What is recommended then is better to convert batch production facilities into what they call mass processes. We identified last time. Commonly known as assembly line processes. Right. Mass processes are the production process produce highly standardized few products, high volume. So mostly, sometimes they use manual processing or machinery and what we call automation. Automated processes. The entire process is automated. Right? So such mass processes, also known as assembly lines, would be highly efficient. High volume and high efficiency, so that operating costs can be further taken down. So that is how the operating cost is reducing. Is that advantageous? So operations managers, time to time, should change their process types appropriately, take the advantage, take the leadership in the market. If you continue with old or the inappropriate process types, you are not able to compete in the market. That is what we mean by process selection decision, which is a strategic decision. This is not an operational decision. It's a strategic decision because the impacts would be long term. That would determine our competitiveness in the market. Operations competitiveness. I use these words thinking that we are now in a position to understand. Am I correct? Operations, competitiveness. How we compete with the other organizations in the market. Eventually, now you know, after the maturity period, what happens in the product life cycle normally? We call it decline phase. Isn't so? Decline phase, but still at the beginning, the demand would be at higher level, the peak, but declining. What do you know about that period? Who will survive when a product reaches to a decline stage in the market? What do you know? What type of manufacturers, what type of companies would survive during the decline phase? Market leaders. Yes, your idea is correct. Market lead, only one or two, right? Market leader and just a follower who can produce product highly efficiently. Right? And all the others, they won't be able to. Demand is also declining, and also in the industry, the competitiveness purely based on the price or the cost. Who can produce at the lowest cost will survive, others will have to get away from the market. What is needed in the market is highly standardized commodity type product, we call it. That means no varieties. Market expects something called commodity product. commodity product can highly standardized, no varieties, right? And for that, even after if the mass processes are not enough, some industries we see they convert them into even continuous flows. Convert the production facilities into continuous flows because demand is there for a few years time, maybe 8 to 10 to 15 years. That is, demand is declining, right? But if they can make some inventions or other changes, and demand will be there for some time. Demand would be huge, but declining. So for such, even continuous flows can be introduced. Highly automated processes to produce highly standard one product. Say for an example, factories like, there are examples in textbooks, products like Coca-Cola, classics, Pepsi, the original Pepsi, right? Now they have almost reached the declining stage. That is a commodity type stage. Well, they have introduced some varieties that is separate. Original classic Coca-Cola, bottle and everything, right? The demand for such is constant. So in Mexico or US or Europe, the demand for such beverage products is huge. So just assembly or mass processing would not be enough. For that, they are using continuous process. 24/7. Producing and bottling supply. Highly standardized product. Understanding? Not everywhere, I mean not for all the products, but for certain selected products, even that can be converted into mass processes to continuous. Initially, the operating cost will be a little higher. Can you guess the reason? Especially, yes, initial investment is needed. Right? When converting mass processes into automated continuous processes, initial investment would be high, but over a period of time, when more efficient methods are learned, when the production is expanded further, per unit production cost can be further reduced. That is the advantage. So one or two firms, when reaches to that level, none of the other competitors would be able to compete with them. So that is how it happens. So is that clear? So that's about process selection, which is a very important strategic decision for a business, operational decision. But as we identified here, as we discuss it here, according to the decision, we'll have to arrange the other operations that, especially to affect the capacity and then facility, what type of buildings, machinery, and equipment needed, depending on the process decision, process selected. And then of the layout, the next topic we are going to start. We'll discuss it there. Process type and the layout is linked. Layout is, we'll discuss in detail, but for the time being, how the factory, within the factory with machines or the resources arranged physically. That depends on the process type. And then of course work design, that means what type of workers we use, each worker, what they are doing in the operations, depends on what? Depends on what type of processes we need. This helps you understanding these interconnections of operations management decisions, operations management topics. Clear? With that, we can conclude this topic. We talked about process selection decision, what it is, why that is important. Yeah, identify process type, 5 manufacturing types, 3 service. Okay, we will get 2 to 3 or 5 minutes maximum. Go through and ask some questions. Something is not clear. If there are online participants, please ask some questions because you rarely get chances to ask questions. Luckily, no one is there. Will you go through and will they go through later the recorded lecture? So if something is there, we can discuss. Where is the SAD mode? Do you have any questions that way? Any questions? Thank you. අඩු කරේ මම වැඩි කරන්නේ කිසි කෙනෙකුට කිසි තුනක් කරේ ඉස්සෙල් වල අඩු කරේ දැන් අපි කරේ අපිට යනවා කියනකොට අඩු කරනවා අඩු කරන්නේ වැඩි කරන්නේ More importantly, check past papers 1 or 2. That will relate a part of question on a full question like this define or let's say define what process selection decision is. That sounds like you don't get such a simple question, but at least explain the importance of process selection decision for operations. That's an open question. Right? You should be able to discuss and develop an answer. What is this decision? How this should be taken? How this decision would affect other operations decisions likewise? If it is for 10 marks, you should be able to describe those things. More importantly, sometimes you will be asked, describe the characteristics of manufacturing process types, different process types. So you should be able to name them and compare the characteristics of different manufacturing process types. Just naming is not enough. You should be able to describe the key characteristics. Or sometimes you will be asked to compare, let's say now, we discussed job shops and then assembly line or mass processors. Compare the advantages and disadvantages of job shop processing and mass processors using appropriate examples. So the complete answer you should be able to introduce, and there are five. And then job shops are like this, and their advantages are like this. Mass processors having these characteristics, and the advantages are these. So where we see them, job shops are used in these type of industries, often producing these type of products. And then for mass processors, these are the examples. And then of course these are the key limitations of each. No questions? Right. Then shall we move to the new topic, that is topic number 6. Layout plan, layout design. That you will find from the LMS. You have that soft copy. Check whether you can find it. Give me 1 minute. Could you find this layout? Could you find this layout? Now, you as accountants, one day, audit managers, you may not use most of these concepts and topics, right? But this is a complete operational management subject in your exams. There can be questions. However, meantime, you will find a way. One day or some decisions that way you may use some of these concepts, ideas. Assume that you are going to become a consultant, business consultant, in addition to auditing and accounting. The business knowledge is operational management concepts will be used. Even as accountants or auditors, one day topics like this or processing. Now we discussed earlier, so you can think of a new way. Yeah, I mean we are taking unnecessary time to process this thing. Can't I find a way to expedite the process? Rather than processing one by one, you take it process as a small batch, complicate everything. So otherwise, you may convert customized services into standardized services and have more efficiency. Likewise, to get some idea, these concepts are used. Likewise, this topic, not totally new to you, I think. Topic that is facility layout, layout planning. Facility layout. Layout planning is what we are going to talk about. This may not be totally new to you, right? But we are going to discuss things in detail and with technical details. Now, in the topic, these are the areas we are going to cover. Define what facility layout is and understand why this is important. Layout planning is important for smoothly managing operations. Hello? Hello? I hope you are connected to this, right? Okay. Okay. And then technically we identify in textbooks, they have recommended different layouts based on their characteristics for different situations, different industries, different operations. Right? So we will identify what are the basic layout types available and identify their characteristics and thereby where to use which type of layouts. In fact, there are 4 main layout types and some other additional layouts also that we will discuss more. Out of them, we will pay attention mainly to these 2 layout types. One is called process layout. Their characteristics, implications, advantages, and their limitations. And the second one is called the second most popular or the most commonly used layout is called product-oriented layouts, so product layouts. We will identify their characteristics, advantages, disadvantages, and we will also introduce you the other layout types. At the same time, we will also identify what are the techniques used for designing layouts, especially for process type. What are the techniques? So there will be some calculations, even in the exams. So, will be given details and request to design layouts or improve the layouts. And for process layouts, what are the techniques? For product layouts, there's a technique called line balancing. We'll discuss that one as well briefly. Layout designing techniques will also be covered quickly. Is that clear? What we are going to cover? Layout and layout related. Just have a look on the content we are going to cover. It's a huge topic. I mean, even book chapters, lengthy chapters, but we will quickly cover. Covering the most important, most needed areas only. Layout planning. Facility layout. Are we ready? We will have around 2 hours or less than 2 hours. Um, make it a point to understand everything within the class itself. Don't delay it. Write down additional points, whatever. Understand this within the classroom itself, so that you can quickly get ready for the final exam as well. Right, layout. So slide number 3 defines what layout is and layout planning also briefly. Facility layout, what is it? Layout planning, what is it? Just read and check whether you can understand. According to what you understand, what is a layout? What is a facility? Because layout is a common term. We use it for different purposes. Facility layout, what is it? In operations. Facility layout. What it could be? Any idea? Yes. Facility layout. You know what we mean by operations facility, right? So we discussed about location planning, facility location, about facility type. So operations facility, what does that mean? Then now we can talk about facilities. What do you mean by operations facility? Look at it. Operations facility. Look at the operations facility again. Will manage operations, to perform operations, conduct operations, we need buildings and premises, right? And such we call operations facility. So it could be factory where the production lines are established, machineries are established, and the operations facility. Or it could be the showroom or the retail outlet where the customers come and for them services are created and delivered. What is service facility? The buildings, premises used for the service operations. Okay? What is facility layout then? Inside such premises, basically. Inside such premises or buildings, such as factories, warehouses, or showrooms, right, or branches, how the physical resource arrangement is done. Because we need different machines, production steps, different workstations or departments to create and deliver products, create and deliver services. So how that physical resource arrangement is done, that is what we call the layout, facility layout. This is an important decision. Designing that is called layout planning. That's an important decision, right? Due to various different reasons. Check if you understand. Layout decision involves determining the placement of departments, workstations, machines, production steps, right, and stockholding points and other transforming resources within an operation facility. Where they are located within the building, where they are established. Facility layout. Planning, that is called layout planning, that involves in determining the best physical arrangement of operating resources within the operations. So within the operations. It refers to the arrangement of everything within the buildings plus around the building also, because sometimes they need to arrange the outer arrangements also. So everything together we call it the layout design. Is that clear to some extent? But technically, we define layout in a way like this, and technically you can understand. In operations management terms, we define layout of an operation facility or a process how in an operation facility transforming resources are positioned, established. Transforming resources, production steps, machines, workstations. Hello? I use these terms thinking that you are now familiar with this because we have been using these terms during the last 5 to 7 weeks. So, where the production steps, machines are located within the operations facility, so that how various different production tasks are allocated to these steps, machines or workstations or departments. That is called layout. Now, that is what. Now, just have an example here. So, you may see this as a kind of customer lobby area of a bank branch. Lobby area. Just close to the entrance, there are these sitting areas arranged, and then of course self-service zones, and then ATM machines and other kiosks, right? So likewise, so that is the layout arrangement for the lobby area. In the same manner, back office of the bank, there are other sections. That's the layout of a bank. So that is applicable everywhere. Hello? That is applicable everywhere. What you see here is a factory layout. Now, inside the factory, depending on the product and the manufacturing technology, they have to decide where to keep which machine, how the materials are introduced to the production flow, and from where they go to where, and from where they gather the finished product and store. So that arrangement is called layout. I'm going back to the previous slide. So now these two decisions, we have to place them and how tasks are arranged together will decide or will dictate how transformed resources go through. In that way, a good layout, an effective layout can provide competitive advantage to any business. Competitive advantage. So in this topic, we try to understand how layout should be designed and what are the different layout types available. Where to use which one. Where to use which one. So that you will be able to answer any question coming from this topic. Plus, you will be able to use this knowledge in making other decisions also. Now, what you see here is slide number 6. It's a restaurant. I have taken this from internet and basically pizza outlet and its layout. Its layout. Now you look at from the top, bird eye view. Now you see this is the counter area, cash count and all. Where the orders are taken, payments are made. Customers get into the place through the entrance, and this is the dining area where customers will be served their foods and all. Outside also they have some arrangements here. But back office, hello, back office for initial preparations, the kitchen area and the food preparation area, parceling and all. The different sections within the outlet they have arranged separate. And that is what we call the layout. That has to be done in a careful manner. So, kitchen arrangement, food preparation, and the dining area. 3 areas designed in a different way, managed in a different way. To perform the operations. Now, coming to this area, dining area, compared to kitchen and the food preparation. Now, in a service like this, customers come into the outlet, spend few minutes to few hours. So they have to design this area more attractive manner, more clean, safe manner. So all such are important when it comes to layout designs. When it comes to kitchen operation and preparation, they make sure their workers can smoothly and efficiently do the operations. Coming to the lobby area or the dining area, that has to be more attractive, more comfortable to the users. So designing layout. Okay. What do you know about it? These are important for operations. These are important for workers, and these are important for customers. Can you name me 1 or 2 places that is attractive to you, that you think that's well designed? 1 or 2 places you have visited in Sri Lanka? One or 2 places that you think it's well designed. It looks like neat, attractive. Yeah. If you think of something you like, that could be made because of its layout. 1 or 2 places. What was it? මාරාමාරු ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහලා තියෙනකොට දැන් මේකට උත්තරයක් හොයාගන්න මාරාමාරුයි නේද? ලක්ෂපති එකේ මිලියනීය පරිශ්‍රම කියලා තියෙනවා. මොකක්ද මම යවුවේ? ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගිහලා තියෙනවා මොනවද ඉතල වැඩිද දැනන්ත එකක්. One gold base. Right. One of the latest shopping malls we have. Right. When you go there, you feel something different, right? Compared to other shopping malls, more relaxed, more space, latest, attractive. I also agree. Right. So to see the difference, that is mainly because of its layout design. That makes the difference. Can you understand it? More attractive, more convenient, more space, different concept, more relaxed, open, spacious. I also agree. Likewise, some other places you have visited and you think this design is. Yeah. Hello? Office again, gathering office together. You know? How we begin last time? Where is that? Do you have a favorite supermarket outlet that you like to visit often when you want to buy something? Which branch or which outlet, if I just ask for you, nearby your city or particular outlet that you prefer to go? Maybe within the city, because that is convenient. See that? And compared to other outlets, other regular supermarkets like Targets and Napico, she likes kiosks. Could be due to various different reasons, but one reason could be how convenient you can go through and select product and more space, product availability, shelf arrangement, display arrangement, right? Clean, neat arrangements, so likewise. And then a wide variety of sections are there. So you prefer kiosks outlets more than Targets. So see, layout influence, layout design may attract customers. Any other questions? That is how we need to understand the importance of layout. For this type of things, even one word is that these are two service layouts where the customers come, right? And they also interact with the services there. So the place should be more attractive as well. Compared to factory layouts. Have you been to some factories producing products? You should have, because when you study business management, the understanding is very important. Have you visited any factories? Yes? Yeah. Yeah. What was that? Lanka steels manufacturing, okay. Probably, I have been to that place, probably a little old facility. Is that or where are the new facilities there? Little older. So how about the new one? You feel like they have utilized the space more efficiently, and then the latest machines and other things are used to produce products efficiently. And how about automated processes and workers? Do they use automated processes? Mostly automated, so that the building is allocated for different production lines. It could be. When you go there, you will see. So in that case, I feel like they have designed the layout in a more efficient manner in the new building. More clean, neat manner than compared to the two old factories there. Yeah. What comes to your mind? Have you been to some places? Lux trade. Lux trade. Venture. Okay. That's also is the older facility, but specifically designed for this milk powder manufacturing and packaging. Manufacturing and packaging. Okay. So let's think about it. Both service and manufacturing. Do you engage with layouts on daily basis? Is this topic relevant for you? Why? Hello? On daily basis, at home, at your office, or wherever you go, you interact with such layouts. How you have arranged your personal room, how you have arranged your kitchen. So all layouts. In your office, how the office arrangement is done. This layout. That is how you interact with the equipment, machinery, printer, and everything. Wherever you go to bus stop, bus stand, railway station, airport, immigration office, restaurant, hotel, supermarket, everywhere you interact with what? Some form of layout. Some are more efficient and you are they are attractive, some are not. So here try to understand how to design data layouts to smoothly perform operations. Clear? And this is for layout plan. This is useful. Now, slide number 7. We try to understand what are the layout design objectives. What are the key objectives? Now it says here, now there can be specific objectives, but the general objective is, read the first part. When it comes to manufacturing, that is in factories, the general objective is to arrange the layout. That means various different resources, structure, steps, machinery, workstation, and etc. etc. Arrange these elements of operations in a way that it ensures a smooth workflow. A smooth workflow in the factory. From starting point to the end, right? How different operations can be smoothly performed is the primary objective in manufacturing. For services, we say to ensure a particular traffic pattern in the service organization. Traffic pattern? Traffic pattern? Now in services, either customers or information being processed, right? So the layout should facilitate smooth processing, right? And particular traffic pattern without any congestion, delays, waitings. Right? So that is the objective. In our topic, we will discuss what techniques we can use to achieve these objectives. Clear? To a large extent, the objectives of any layout will depend on the strategic objectives of the business. What they want to do, how they are going to compete, what is their strategy and all. Depending on the strategic objectives. However, these are other general objectives which are relevant to all operations. Yeah. Accordingly, it says all layouts should be safe for users. Can you understand the importance of it? Safe for the users like workers, operators, and also for customers. See the facility. So no danger to staff or customer. Is that important? So designing the layout in such a way, minimizing the danger, hazards. And then of course, how about others? Quickly go through and check whether you can understand. Other layout design objectives. I'm reading layout should minimize the length of flow through the operation. Unnecessary traveling means unnecessary timing, unnecessary cost, unnecessary weight. So to minimize that, we need to minimize the length of flow and also preferably make the flow clear. From where to start, where it goes, flow should be clear. Staff should be located away from noisy and unpleasant parts of operation because sometimes we use some machinery that generates some harmful emissions or noises, unnecessary vibrations, heavy vibrations, dangerous, or sometimes dust, heat. So the layout should be designed in such a way that they are designed for being safer places so that users may not get affected. And all equipment should be accessible. Otherwise, users cannot use them easily. So utilization would be lower. And at the same time, layout should achieve an appropriate use of space. Available space should be appropriately utilized. That design should be done nicely. And if possible, allow for flexibility, which means it needed something. Once this is arranged, layout is arranged, difficult to change. So maybe for a few years, 2 to 5 years or more than that, the same layout will be used. So now there are objectives like flexible layouts. So that means they are designed with the ability of changing. These have also become layout objectives now. Clear? In addition to these, what else do you think? What could be the other layout design objectives relevant, needed? Can you name a few? When designing facility layouts, what are the other layout objectives you think relevant for modern operations and factories and offices? And of course, many. Like what? Without that, in addition to this, yeah. What could be the other layout decision or the layout objectives which are very important? What do you mean by power? Yeah. Yeah, we have a point. What exactly you mean by that? Okay, for operations, we exactly need energy, electricity, or other form of energy. So how easily, how efficiently we can get the electricity and only that without any other troubles and practical issues and then such, how convenient we can get the energy and energy plus the other utilities. Okay. How conveniently we can get the access to energy and other utilities by designing the layout in such a way. Good. Because they are needed. Likewise. What else? Because you can write them down. These are common points. For different industries, different objectives can be there. Hello? Yes, one or two. Because you are adults, I don't expect that from just 8 or 25 students. Come on, the design color mono Tamil and other areas. Okay. You will say now how the production line is arranged. So, okay, from where you get the final output. So to have shipping, to arrange storage and shipping. Okay, to arrange other transportation arrangements and all, warehouse arrangements and all. You should know from where to start, where to end it, and likewise. Okay, so start. That is, in fact, to have a smooth workflow, we don't just consider only the internal processing. Thereafter, what we do with the finished product, where we store it, and then how conveniently we can design the layout so that we can use finished product to store. Right. Basically coming under this, but yes, I appreciate it. Likewise, what are the other points? Well, especially now factories, heavy dependent workers, and we call them labor intensive factories. Mainly the prices are owned by workers. So they are requirements. There are sanitary facilities, welfare facilities, canteen facilities. Should we think about it? Medical rooms, sick rooms, and various other healthcare requirements. Say for example, now, if you think of factories like garment factories, they are the majority of their factory workers are female, right? So they often, I mean more than male, females use uh, washrooms more. That's common. So that they should be aware of that. So arrange such facilities close to the factory so that not only they can be employee friendly, but on the other side, they can save a lot of time. So how to provide welfare facilities? So, welfare, but sanitary facilities and various other right, requirements in a convenient manner. Saving time also. Consider employee requirements when designing the layouts. Canteen facilities. It's one or two more parking areas. Parking areas. So conveniently park and get into the offices. Good. What else? I mean, what is lacking is you don't think from operation side. Latest technologies, latest concepts. You understand all the other aspects, but you don't think from the operation side, like the technology or the machinery, real processing work, or the latest concepts. In a subject like operations management, you need to start thinking in that line also. Otherwise, you will miss important part. So what are the latest trends in operations? automated machinery and also how to yes, if that is relevant, right? So how to use the latest technology and all, and thereby improve the layout. Maybe layout efficiency, layout flexibility. How to improve the layout flexibility with the latest technology like automation or solutions available within, right? And beyond that, now we have clear trend for sustainability. Sustainability, environment, pollution reduction, emission reduction, carbon footprint reduction, and for that, what we should do in the layout, right? And then the growing, clear concern on energy savings, and for that, the tropical country like Sri Lanka, how buildings and the layout should be designed, or redesigned, improvements. Can you understand? Energy savings, electricity savings, and then of course disposal management, because in operations, a lot of disposals, maybe processed water, what we call contaminated water will be produced as a result of the process. So then what we do with it, and then we have heard in apparel production, apparel manufacturing, various other dyeing processes, a lot of contaminated water is produced. So how to arrange some, let's say, water treatment plants. You may have heard of them. Have you? Water treatment plants. Treat the water and make them neutralized before introducing to the environment. And for that, how to consider such environmental plants. And especially meeting the legal compliances. That also, so what I am expecting you all is such points. Start thinking in that light. Will be able. So from operation side. So in addition to this common layout design. Let's take a small break. Shall we meet around 250? Enough. Right? So we are ready to come back. Sit in the factory. Will you be able to visit? Follow up because they don't process our request. We don't follow up. So we there was another request also, but we extension. It's a huge book. The assignment you can interview the management, you can get some details about the operations and their capacity, their problems and all. The assignment purpose, you will select one main facility of the refinery. Even the main one, because the main one would be the most complicated thing for you to handle. If that is possible, that's all right. Otherwise, they study a small part of that process, and for that, the capacity related issues. Say for example, now the main operation that is the refinery, and for that, they maintain storage facilities, let's say, crude oil storage. Only one part of it. So, and for that, what are the facilities they need? For that, they use separate storing facilities, and what kind of arrangement with that, in the resources that unloading, storing, innovation. That is one example. So otherwise, they are out. At the output of their refinery, they may be producing different products, but basically they are these are petrol and coconut oil refinery. Ah, right. Okay. I thought this thing. It is coconut oil refinery. Right. Okay, clear. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I got it. But in that case, if you can manage the entire process, that's all right. So they are processing, refinery, and storing. Right. And I think if you feel like it's too big to manage, take one part of it. That's all. That's all right. Okay. Before second. Wow. From where you selected data actually? Talking to managers.
We have or plant with and we have talked with our plant manager and the connect information actually සතුවාගේ පොඩි ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් අප්ඩේට් हमारे people capacity के लिए किलोमीटर पर करे किलोमीटर चलेगा ये वाले एक फुली ऑटोमेटेड है बड़े बड़े लेवल पे तो
any issues you come across or any problems you have here? To manage to summarize everything nicely, sir. There are these key factors contributing to capacity issues. Some details about their capacity ratios.
हमारे लास्ट 5 months 6 months तरफ यार ये अब क्या करा करेंगे
I think I didn't go through in detail, but I feel like you have gathered the relevant information from the organization, summarized it nicely. they might not extend the deadline to 2-3 requests, not from the next week, but week next. Since you have more time, today you can control the content. Is everyone here? Is everyone here? I think so. One. Hello. Hello. Before forgetting, there were 2-3 requests to extend the deadline that we can easily do. Still in the process of collecting data and summarizing it. Hello. You also not here. So, doing 1 week extension, would that be enough? Will you be able to manage within 1 week? Not happy? So, that was scheduled for next week, but let's extend it by 1 more week, 7 more days. So, week after next Sunday evening, I will create the link on the LMS that I could do actually. Will do. Meantime, make sure you collect information and summarize them. Feel free to contact me if you need any other assistance or support from my end. Right. Though you were not here, I think like 1 or 2 are missing, right? Right. We started this topic, that is layout planning. So far, we understood what layout is, importance of layout planning, and then of course layout objectives. Hello. Layout objectives. From here onwards, we try to identify what are the different layout types available. We are to use which one because their characteristics are different. So, have you come across? There are these 4 layout types basically used in operation, and the characteristics of them, each of them are different. So, these are the layout types, namely fixed position layout. And the second one, process layouts. We call it process oriented layout. A simple version can be considered as process layout, process oriented layout. Write it down somewhere. Process oriented layout. Now, in some textbooks, they call it functional layout. For the 2 names, the idea is same. Process oriented layouts, what we call process layout. Third one, we call it product oriented layout. Product oriented layout, known as product layout. Their characteristics are different. How the resources are arranged, that's different. And the fourth one, we call it hybrid layouts. So those are the 4 main layout types, of which the characteristics are different. The advantages are different. Their limitations are different. During the remaining 40 minutes or so, we try to identify their characteristics, at least one. Now it says here, the layouts are related to the process types we identified earlier. Type of layouts we are going to identify, and the process types we discussed so last week and today are related. So for different process types, different layouts are recommended. So that we will identify here, right? But prior to that, let me introduce you other layouts also that are summarized in the next slide, that is slide number 10. In addition to those four, there are these layout types also. Office layouts in office environments. How the positions of workers, their equipments, their tables, chairs, departments are arranged in an office setup like your big firms, office setup, or government offices. That is different from the previous four. Here the main focus is to manage the information processing smoothly. In the same manner, retail outlets, they are different. Now, retail outlets, as the name implies, to these outlets, customers also come and select products after comparing. So the product should be stored in a way that customers can easily compare and select products, like supermarket outlets or department stores like House of Fashion, Candy, or whatever, Food Planet, department stores, or any other retail outlets like supermarkets. So to allocate display areas and then allow customers to freely move through and select products. Third one, we call it warehouse layouts. Warehouse layouts, to store either materials or finished products. So, storing. Have you been to warehouse? The arrangements are a little different. To store product physically and then unload products and store them, and when they are needed, again retrieve. We call it retrieving the product from the warehouse and sending them to the production or to the customers. And for that, warehouse layout should be done in fact, there are some businesses like we call them 3PL companies. 3PL companies. Their business is providing storage facilities for their clients. I think some of you are aware. So that they need more efficiently designed warehouse layouts. So altogether, those are the 7 different layout types that are briefly mentioned in the next 2 slides. Office, retail, and warehouse. Then of course, fixed position layout, job shops, or what we call process-oriented layouts. And then of course, product-oriented layouts and cellular layouts. And the key objectives are there. Okay? So in our discussion, we try to quickly go through them and identify their characteristics and examples where to use which type of layouts and why. Will you go through this area? Right, then let's quickly go to this slide because in a way, right, slide number 9, this nicely summarizes whatever we are going to discuss here in after. Where to use which type of layouts and the relationship between layouts and the process types. Let me quickly explain it. Now you see, these are the 4 layout types, namely fixed position layout, process-oriented layouts, or also known as functional layouts. That we identify, functional layout, process-oriented layout. And then we call it hybrid layout or cell layout. And finally, we have product layout. Now, coming to manufacturing process types, we have identified in the previous topic. And it says here, now look at the scope covered by the arrow. Right? Now, for project processes, right? Now it covers only the fixed position, which means for project processes, technically we recommend fixed position layout. You don't know the meaning of it. You don't know the meaning of fixed position layout yet. But for project processors, it's fixed position layouts are. That is how you need to understand it. Clear? Hello? Is that clear? If yes, you have to give this signal. If you don't understand, no. Coming to the second process type, we call it jobbing processes. Jobbing processes. What layouts are recommended for that? Look at the arrow. So for some jobbing processes, do you remember their characteristics? Hello? A variety of outputs in a small volume. You should be able to understand it now. Right? Jobbing processes, a variety of different products, small volume, as small batches. We call it lot production. Do you remember last week we discussed? For such, either fixed position layouts or functional layouts are recommended. Clear? Try to understand. Coming to the next one, batch processes. Batch processes. What are the characteristics of batch processes? Hello? Batch processes. Compared to jobbing processes, volume is high. We call it moderate volume. How about variety? Fewer varieties. Selected few items. Selected fewer varieties, but moderate volume. And for that, either process-oriented layouts. This is one main type used, especially if the volume is low. But see, some batch processing may even use product layouts because it covers up to here. It's not a mistake. For some batch processors, product-oriented layouts are also possible. And at the same time, we call them hybrid layouts. These are also used in modern batch processing. Can you understand it? So after completing this topic, come back to this slide and then understand it again. This is how you need to understand it. Write it down somewhere, otherwise you don't understand why these five and what are these arrows. Huh? It's a nice illustration. It's a nice illustration that summarizes everything you need to know. Where to use which type of layouts? I mean, no need to write down all these details, but how to understand this? Write down somewhere how to understand where to use which layout. And how about the other one? We call it mass processes. For that, what type of layouts are recommended? What type of layouts are recommended? Basically, product layouts. And some mass processes they use hybrid layouts, or what we call cell layouts. Mass processes. How about the volume? High volume. Probably one or two varieties. that requires a product layout, or nowadays we see cell layouts, hybrid layouts are used. Coming to the last one, that is continuous processes. Continuous processes. Do you remember? Continuous processes. How about volume? That is huge, right? What type of products produce? What type of products? Highly standardized one output, 24/7. Continuous operations, and for that, only the product layouts are present. So, if in a way nicely summarizes, technically for which type of processes, which type of layouts are recommended. And at the same time, for service processes, right, service process types, one, that is professional service processes we discussed today. And for that, either fixed position layouts or process-oriented layouts are recommended. If the volume is low, fixed position. If the volume is relatively high, right, and fewer varieties, of course, functional layouts. Coming to service shops, mostly the process-oriented layouts are recommended. Process-oriented layouts are recommended, and now we see sometimes hybrid layouts are also used. Cell layouts are also. Coming to the last one, mass services. For them, basically the product layouts are used or cell layouts. Mass services, standardized services in high volume. I hope you can understand it now. Come back to this slide after finishing the topic also. And with that, we can quickly move to different process, different layout types, and identify their characteristics and other details. I think let's begin with the process-oriented layouts and quickly identify details, because we have a limited time. So you may go through the other details, and even this slide, what are the characteristics or symptoms of poor layout arrangement, we'll discuss later. I'll quickly move to process-oriented layouts. Those who join now, layout means how the physical resources are arranged within an operation facility, like factory or service outlet. So different resources, different machines, departments, how they are located. Right. Are we ready? Sometime now. Content covered so far would help you answering questions like what is facility layout and what is facility layout plan, and also to explain the importance of layout planning. So far what we discussed would be useful. So key layout design objectives we have identified. If you are to identify main layout types, the 4 and the additional 3, right, what we discussed so far will be useful. If you are to name the main layout types, that there won't be questions like that. At least you will have to describe their characteristics. So from there, we move to the main content. We try to identify different layout types. We begin with this one, we call it process-oriented layouts. Maybe the name is new, but you are familiar with this type of layouts. What are the main characteristics of this type of layout? Well, now in functional layouts or process-oriented layouts, also known as job shop layouts, The main characteristic is similar resources are located together, grouped together. Similar resources are grouped together. Similar processes are grouped together. You may not understand it now, but as we discuss, you will understand. Now, look at slide number 15 and assume that this is the building. This is the full space available, the building, and this is how the departments are located within the building. So you see, there is this receiving and shipping unit. There is this grinding department where the grinding machines are established. There is this area allocated for lathe department where the lathe machines are located. Hello? And then milling department, milling machines, drilling department, drilling likewise. So similar resources or similar processes located together. It's a typical example for a process-oriented layout. Such layouts we call process-oriented layouts or functional layouts. Okay? Have you seen similar layout patterns in different businesses? Maybe I've seen. You know what happens with a layout like this? What are the main advantages? Now, assume that they got an order. These layouts are used to produce different outputs. Assume that they got an order that requires different processing requirements, like these steps. Now, accordingly, the product will go to a route within the facility, and the order will be completed. That is what it is mentioned here. Right? So, now similar resources located together. This may be because it is convenient to group them together so that the utilization of transforming resources is improved. It means that when products flow through the operation, they will take a route from activity to activity, department to department, according to the operating requirement, processor needs. Different products will have different processing needs, therefore take different routes. So like what you see here, one order, it has these processing requirements, and accordingly it goes through and comes to an end. Assume they got another order that has different processing requirements, like this. Customized orders. Still they can process them and complete the product and supply. Can you see? Likewise, when the resources are grouped based on the function, based on the similarities, like this is more convenient to offer variety of products. And such arrangements are called, hello, what is the name? Functional layouts or process-oriented layouts. Clear? Where else you have seen similar type layouts? In the next slide, there are a few more examples. Now, hospitals are a typical example. Hospitals, patient registrations to various different sections in the hospital. Okay, let's separate based on the function. Why such arrangement is needed for a hospital? Because different patients may require different treatments. They will go different routes according to their health requirements and get the treatments. Can you understand it? Hello, can you understand it? Maybe even at a branch of a bank, you may see functional layout, because customers go there for different purposes. some may, like you and me, go to the counter operator or the cash counter, get the things done and move, come out. Customers go into loan section to get an application or submit an application, right? They will go through the loans application section, coming back to the lobby area, get it filled, and so like that. But some other customers may go for let's say phoning activities. Go to the phoning section and get it done and get the collect the money from the counter or from the phoning section itself. So likewise. So process layouts are used in many issues. At supermarkets, you see functional layout. What do we call it? Retail layout. It's like have you seen within a supermarket product categories are grouped? Grocery items, fresh items, meat, right? And then of course various other areas. So customers can quickly go to the places and select the products and come out. So functional layouts. Kitchen area of a restaurant, if you go inside and see, because do they prepare only one meat item, one food item? No, they need to process different food items, and for that they need this washing basin, food preparation table, food storage, refrigerators and all, and then cooking area, packaging it. So likewise. So likewise. What you see here? It's also a typical functional layout, but what you see in a library. Now see, these are the different sections. This is the entrance. There the counter staff is located here, and this is the reference section. So the reference collection is located, and this is the study desk, and these are the lending area, lending books located in that area. Online resources, digital resources, separate section, and journals and other periodicals, reserve collection, photocopying and all. So the building is divided among different sections. See, such we call functional layout. Why? Because users like readers or library users visit the facility for different purposes. Different routes they will take. That is possible when the facility is arranged like this. That is why. Understanding? What is the name given for this type of layouts? Process-oriented layout. Very commonly used in many operations facilities. Even in your audit firms, accounting firms, you may see similar type of functional layouts are used. Different departments. If you have been to a press or printer, right, get some printing done, so they typically need functional layout because they get different models, printing assignments. They need something like this. Clear? We discussed one. Now, these are other characteristics of process layouts. It says we see general purpose resources and flexible resources in process layouts. And go through the other points. These facilities are more labor intensive. More workers are used for operations. And then of course lower capital intensity and lower automation. And processing rates are slower. Processing rates, when products are taken from one machine to another, one department to another, that's a delay. There are waitings. So processing rates are slower and the volume is low. Can you understand it? And it says here, material handling costs are high. When the layout is arranged like this, material handling cost is high. Why is that? You can compare it with other layout types when we discuss them next week. Why is the material handling cost is high here? Like what you see here, right? So products should be taken from one machine to another, from there to another, from that department to another, and for that manually, sometimes manual workers handling them, or sometimes equipments, machines like forklifts. Have you seen? Right? Forklifts being used in transporting the product from one department to another, because different products go through different routes. Handling cost is. In fact, this is the number one factor when designing, right? When designing the process layouts, the main concern is how to allocate departments while minimizing the material handling cost. To minimize the material handling cost. Otherwise, these layouts, although they are flexible, may be extremely expensive. We'll discuss it as the next point. So in addition to that, other points are there. Scheduling resources, work is complex, and the workflow is complex. Space requirements are higher. Again, due to the main reason, because products are taken from one machine to another, one department to another. And for that, they need space. If you go to well-designed hospitals, like Jawaharlal Hospital, or some of the leading hospitals, general hospitals, you see more spacious passages are used, staircases are used, elevators are used. Why is that? Different patients and medical equipments and all should be taken from one section to another, so that they need spacious passageways. Is the layout. This part. The space requirements are high. You can compare these characteristics with other layout types when we discuss. Is that clear? What we talked about process-oriented layout. I will also introduce now, before going to other layout types, we can also discuss their design techniques. So let me quickly introduce the techniques used for that. We won't be able to complete it today, but I will draw your attention to slide number 34. To identify how to design process-oriented layouts. How to design process-oriented layouts. Can you find it? Slide 34. Now it says here, now when designing process-oriented layouts, we need to arrange the work centers within the building, within the premises, in a way that minimize the materials handling cost. We will understand how to do that with an example, if not today, next week. So now basically material handling cost may come from two reasons, two causes. Right? One is called number of loads between departments. How many transactions between departments? Right? Number of loads between departments, or in case of services, how many people frequently handling from one section to another. And then of course the load, the distance of the load, so traveling time, traveling distance between departments. the traveling cost or traveling distance, right, then determines the material handling cost. To minimize it, layout designers should carefully handle it. And the techniques are like this, we'll discuss as we move forward. In your opinion, such design decisions are taken when? When such decisions are taken? Every week, every month, every 6 months, or every year? No. When such decisions are taken? Layout design decisions? Well, these are long-term decisions. Especially when new factories plan, new facilities plan, such decisions are decided. Right? Once it is decided, they will have to continue with the same layout for good 5 to 10 years sometimes without making any changes. Clear? So these are long-term decisions, design decisions. You know why I am worried? Next week when I start, continue from this stage, I will have to remind everything to you because you don't remember me. By looking at today's slide, realize it. ඉතින් මේ දැන් කියනවා වගේ ඉන්න බලන්න. මොකද කිසිදයක් ඔළුවට ඉන්නේ නැහැ. පොතේ කියනවා. I'm really afraid. When I start this next week, I'll start from the beginning. I can use different techniques like group work or like use study and understand it, but it won't work for certain topics. A topic like this, I will have to explain something. If you think with me, I know at least 2-3 individuals, they think with me, so they understand. I think others also to follow the same. Write down some points and think with me. These are difficult things. In the classroom itself, you understand. Right. What was my question? I asked when layout decisions are made. Well, these are not frequent decisions. When a new facility is designed, that is when the layout designs are taken. Right? Does that mean decision makers don't change the layout forever? Sometimes they will change, but after a few years time, 3 to 5 years time also, when the technology changes or when the requirements are changed drastically, so they will have to adjust it or modify it most probably after 3 to 5 to 10 years time. Right? Because changing it is expensive and takes time also. So that is why when the layout is designed, carefully designed. My second question, who involves in layout design decisions? Operations facilities, who involves in layout design decisions? Management, what kind? Yes, managers are the decision makers. Who are the particular managers as per your observation, as per your understanding? Okay, operations manager as he thinks. Well, yes, small scale, small to medium scale, especially medium scale, factories and all. Operations managers involved heavily in deciding how the building is divided among different production steps, departments and all, where to keep which machine and all. So operations manager and their suggestions, their ideas are very good. Yeah, that's true. Is that all? In your idea, who else should be involved here? HR. HR, you mean? Is that? Well, if the person is some HR managers are even good at that also. Right? In that case, yes. But maybe That is why we should start thinking from operations side. Right? In services like auditing, well, HR can play a huge role there because they basically manage staff there. They know the procedure requirements to a great extent. In such a case, yes, they know. But the main operations facilities like factories, HR managers, they don't understand the technology behind it. They don't understand the production processes, right? Machinery and all, so that they can do minimum. But of course, operations manager. Who else? Get an answer. Okay, that is a very good answer. There are experts in that. Maybe in each industry experts are there. Technology experts, manufacturing experts, design experts are there. So businesses sometimes recruit them or assign them as projects, get things done from them. That's very good answer. So there are design experts, technology experts who take one day this kind of assignment. Sometimes expert firms are there, you know, expert firms. Outsourcing, they also outsource, they have designed the outsource. And more importantly, in each industry, like there is technology experts. Technology experts in our apparel manufacturing, right? The technology is apparel technology, production manufacturing technology. And that is different from food processing technology. Like CBL or Elephant House, they process food items. Their technologies are different. So the technology experts' opinions, ideas are very important here in deciding the layouts. That is different from automobile engineering. That those engineers, technology engineers, they are such very important. And at the same time, there are creative and competent design experts. Because, especially for service designers, let's say supermarkets, hotels, restaurants, right, and various other customer service outlets and all. So, especially places like hotels should be designed based on some new concepts. You know, there are design engineers, architectural designers, and all who may propose innovative, attractive new designs. Architectural designers and architecture. Interior designers are there. They are the ones who involve in design, layout design. But in manufacturing engineering or manufacturing factories and all, it's technology experts and engineers, industrial engineers, production engineers, their recommendations. When we meet next week, we will start from here and identify how these techniques are used for designing process-oriented design. Take good care of yourself. You have another lecture, right?